Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and much appreciated you guys coming by the channel and checking the video out. Really appreciate that. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about slow rolling spinnerbaits for big bass. We're getting into the time of year, pre-spawn time of the year, early spring, late winter, prime times to catch them slow rolling a big spinnerbait. So I'm going to give you guys some good tips and advice on that in today's video. I'm also, guys, before we get started, just one quick thing. Just wanted to remind everybody to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I build for Fish the Moment. These are great resources to learn more about some early spring places on all the big lakes across the country and small ones. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put my lake map breakdown link in the description. And also, guys, if you buy a lake map breakdown, feel free to shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler. If you have any questions on the map, I'd be happy to answer them. Really appreciate that. Okay, slow rolling a spinnerbait. You guys that are regulars to my channels, you probably heard me talking about slow rolling spinnerbaits, big spinnerbaits, and how effective they are to catch big ones. Out of the big fish that I have caught in my life, and I'm talking about really big ones, like over 7-pounders, I bet probably, I'm gonna say 60 to 70% of those fish have come on a big spinnerbait, slow rolling it. The others have come on either like a full-size jig or some other oddball stuff, but by far a big slow rolled spinnerbait has accounted for more giant bass for me than about any other technique. It's just a great way to catch them, always has been. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you my two primary types of spinnerbait setups I like, and then we're going to talk about how to fish it and the type of areas that you fish. And also, guys, I'll link a couple of my favorite big spinnerbaits for slow rolling in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you want to try them out. Okay, there's two primary ones that I use. One is a big willow leaf spinnerbait, and the other is a big Colorado bladed spinnerbait, depending upon the conditions. Now, if you have not set up a big spinnerbait for slow rolling, it's a specialized bait. Number one, you need a heavy head, like a 3/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce. I probably prefer the 3/4 ounce, which this one is here. You want a full-size skirt, a long skirt, and a large trailer. This is the Zoom Shimmer Shad. I like a trailer that's 4 or 5 inches long, coupled up with a number 7 or number 8 gold willow leaf blade and some little Colorado in front of it here. I've just got the orange one there for a little bit stained water. But that's the setup. It's a big bait, man. It displaces the water, a lot of water, thumps really good. And I use the willow leaf most of the time. I probably use the willow leaf 80% of the time and the Colorado 20. And the willow leaf is going to work in a wide range of conditions in terms of water clarity. So anytime that water clarity is like over 2 foot of visibility, and ideally I like 2 to 4 foot of visibility for my slow rolling, it's usually with the big willow leaf. Now, if the water is a little bit dirtier, say for example you're fishing some Alabama lakes that have dirty water, or Oklahoma lakes where you have water visibility of under 2 feet, that's when I'm going to the same deal, 3/4 ounce to 1 ounce head with a Colorado blade on it. Number 7 gold is my preferred on there, and I'll have a trailer on it too. I just don't have a trailer on this one, but the Colorado blade is for, the little bit off-colored water. And also I use the Colorado blade if the fish are shallower when I'm slow rolling it. And normally if the water is off-colored, the fish are a little bit shallower. And if I'm fishing, the willow leaf, I can drop it down a little deeper. Okay, so here's my favorite ways to fish it. There's 2 different things I look for when I'm slow rolling. Number one, it depends on the type of lake you're fishing, if it's rock or grass oriented. Now, if you're fishing a grass lake, which there's a lot fewer grass lakes than there are rock lakes, but all you guys that fish any lake that has submergent hydrilla or milfoil, slow rolling that big spinnerbait over the top of those grass beds are going to be a really, really good way to catch them. Try to concentrate on those grass beds that are close to deep water. Ideally, the perfect zone for early spring pre-spawn grass bed fishing, I'm going to say, is going to be 5 to 8 foot is going to be perfect for it. And I usually like to have the grass growing up off the surface, maybe a foot or 2. Perfect situation. Throw it out there, just count it down and just slowly crank it and try to just tick the top of that grass with. It's a really good way to catch it. Occasionally I'll pop it like that, but trying to keep contact with that grass. But for most anglers out there, your lakes don't have grass, so you got to concentrate around the type of cover that they are on. and that is any type of a steep rock bank. Now, the steep rock bank can be any composition. It can be vertical bluff, it can be, basketball size rock, it can be fist size rock, it can be gravel bank, it can even be clay, as long as you got some deep water straight off of that bank, called a channel bank. We talked about this before. Or riprap. Riprap is a great area to slow roll the big spinnerbait on. And normally what I'll do is, again, depending upon the water clarity, I try to position my boat maybe in 10 or 15 feet of water, and I'll make a 45-degree angle cast down that bank, and I'm just slow rolling it down the drop. And I'm trying to keep this bait, I want to try to keep it about a foot above the bottom for the most part. That's where you're going to catch your big ones. I don't reel it midway through the water column or right on the bottom. About a foot off the bottom is going to be really, really good. And for the most part, during the pre-spawn, when that water temperature is in the 50s, which is the temperature range I like it in, you're gonna get most of your bites sort of in that 3 to 6 foot zone for the most part. Now, another thing, when you're cranking these channel banks here, or the steep banks, don't just get caught up like on the main creek channel banks or main lake. A lot of times you can go back into a cove, and some coves have steep banks on them. Anywhere that you have a steep bank, I don't care if it's on the cove, or if it's in a bay, or if it's on the main creek arm, or if it's in the main lake, anytime that you have a steep bank, that's prime target for slow rolling these big spinnerbaits. And there's nothing fancy about it, guys. It's just like it says, slow rolling. You just reel it really slow like that. If you hit the bottom, speed it up a little bit, just get it up off the bottom. And most of the time when they bite it, it's just heavy. It's just like they just got it and it's heavy. It's not like it's a real hard strike with it. Now, the conditions for it, they work in a lot of different conditions. They'll work in pre-frontal conditions, they'll work in post-front conditions. I've caught them in any type of a situation you can imagine. But anytime that you're using a big lure like this, you're always going to do better if you have those conditions that are a little bit more conducive to fish chasing, which is normally a pre-frontal condition where you have a stable or falling barometric pressure. Some overcast skies help, and wind will definitely help. If you gave me like perfect slow rolling spinnerbait scenario, give me water temperatures of about 55 degrees, give me water visibility of about 3.5 foot of clarity, a cloudy day with about a 15-mile-an-hour south wind. And when you have the combination of that, you're going to catch some good ones on there. And one final thing, guys, this is a big bait, and it takes a lot to move this to get a hook in the fish's mouth, because you got so much hardware in the way. Throw it on a flipping stick. I throw it on my Megabass Alkalies flipping stick with 20-pound test Seagarn Vezex fluorocarbon line, because that flipping stick, not only it will allow you to make longer casts, but it allows you to get a lot more power on that hook set. Because if you don't set the hook hard on these spinnerbaits, these big giant spinnerbaits, you'll lose a lot of fish on them. And I don't like to use a trailer hook. That's one thing about it. I have used trailer hooks on them, and they work, but a trailer hook will reduce the amount of strikes you get, and you'll get hung up a lot, especially if you're fishing it close to the bottom. So most of the time on these big spinnerbaits, you're reeling them so slow that it's not like they come up and nip them short. Most of the time when they get it really good. So anyway, guys, give it a try. I think it's gonna be a good technique for y'all, and we'll talk to y'all later.